Oh, good afternoon, everybody. How is everyone on I don't know what day it is. I just returned from a fabulous, fabulous 8-day trip. My guy and I took a little venture out to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We stayed there for 2 days and then we headed on up to North Carolina and did some beach time in Carolina Beach. It was absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Look for all my pictures that I'll put together here this afternoon. I'm trying to get acclimated with being back. I'm in my back room. I was putting stuff away, got my curling iron. I've got material ready to go to make some totes for an art show that I have going on. Let me get situated. I am Kitryn Marie. I'm an artist, a writer, speaker, life and a business coach. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri, and trying to work a little bit more out of my actual studio other than other places in the house. I was rearranging furniture on top of unpacking 8 days of being, gone, clothes and hair product and makeup and so on and so forth. The weather is completely different than what it was up on the northeast side. Carolina Beach is just absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. I highly, highly recommend if you get an opportunity to travel up east, do so. We talk about where we want to go and how we want to do things, and we make plans, and sometimes plans don't quite work out the way that they need to go. But sometimes the ones that are not made, the ones that kind of fall by the wayside, and you end up exploring and having adventures. And that's exactly what this last eight days did. It was a lot of adventure, a lot of exploring. My guide Matt is a former Marine, and when he was sorry, my phone, I didn't turn it down. When he was up in North Carolina some years back. He was stationed at Camp Lejeune. So we were able to go over to Jacksonville and meet up with two of his buddies, which was very, very nice for him. He hadn't seen his friends in 20 years, and real, true friends. You pick up just right where you leave off. Doesn't matter how many days, weeks, months, years go by. If they are your true friend, you just pick up and you go. And that's exactly what it was. He hadn't seen his friends in 20 years, and it was like they were just together last week. So it was really, really nice. I kind of left him at the establishment that we were meeting his friends at, drank my 2 beers, and excused myself because that was his thing. It wasn't my thing, although I was very interested in meeting his friends. He didn't need me attached to his hip. When you are a secure couple and you have a solid relationship, you know, he does his thing, you do your thing, and you don't need to be combined, needing that, extra security. And I very well was very happy going to do some shopping in the strip mall that we were at. So it all worked out really good. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Kitryn Marie. I'm an artist, a writer, speaker, life and a business coach. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I teach creative minded women how to jump outside of what they know to try to become a little bit more than what they already know. How to take a craft, a talent, how to journal, how to blog, how to go live, how to find your voice, how to tell your story, the why to your story, and get to the bottom of who you are and why you do the things that you do, and the things that do trigger you, and the things that make you be nervous. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I don't play one on TV, have no big, big degree behind me. I'm an artist, an educator, an influencer. I business coach because I knew what it was like to have a talent and a gift, and I knew what it's like to be with somebody who is not supportive of your dream. I know what it's like to be in a narcissistic relationship where everything is turned around on you, and you lose sight of who you are and why you want to do the things that you do. I was very, very fortunate. I spent a very long amount of working years in food and beverage. I still have my hand just a few hours a week in food and beverage still, because it keeps life real, keeps me humble, keeps me in touch with the way the world is turning. Sadly, the customer isn't always right, but you try to accommodate the best that you know how to do. So, with my studying, being able to understand how I can help somebody else see the situation that they're in, either by teaching you how to journal, how to blog, how to show you what your true message is, what your content needs to be so you can build an audience. My YouTube channel, it fluctuates. Right now I'm up to 226 people. Sometimes it drops down to 224. Whether I have 224, 226, or 200,000, it's about the people that are watching me now, wanting to know how I'm doing things, and what I can do to contribute to somebody else who wants to just do something different. Um, did a lot of soul searching when I walked that beach this past week. I'm not kidding. The trip was absolutely fabulous. You want to talk about courage. You want to talk about bravery. I'm the first one to tell you I suffer from terrible, terrible panic attacks. I am prone to being a little on the nervous side, mostly. I am an introvert, although I do like speaking publicly. I do like having an audience, if not for entertainment type purposes, but for some informational type things that I think I can share from my existence and the things that I have gone through that help somebody else, maybe inspire you to want something different and more. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you suffer from a depression or you suffer from an autoimmune illness. There's nothing wrong with saying that you have anxiety attacks. It does not make you crazy because you have anxiety attacks. It does not make you crazy because you suffer from post traumatic stress disorder issues. Your bravery, how you choose to live your everyday life, and then how you choose to change the environment that you are in. We had a fabulous 8 days, fabulous, without any glitches until, and I'll get to the until part in a minute. We were able to share a lot of laughter, stayed in a beautiful, beautiful little condo right on Pleasure Island in Carolina Beach. And anybody who follows me, I go back and forth, and then I get back around to the point I'm getting to. He was able to go fish in the ocean, which was absolutely fabulous. We're river and lake fishing people, so it was good to see him get back to something that he used to do a very, very long time ago. And no matter how far you go in life, it's always important to remember where you came from and how things got started. So as he's fishing and I'm walking and I'm clearing my head, and in my mind I'm thinking, I'm going to get back to writing the two books that I started several years back. They're all tucked away nicely in my computer. And I was thinking how at peace I was, how calm I was. I loved the sound of the ocean and the waves and my feet in the sand. It was warm, it was a little windy, but it was good, and I was feeling so calm and so at ease. And anybody who knows my journey and how far I've come since 2011, 2013, I'm in a really, really good place in my life. I'm happy with the direction that I've gone in. I'm happy and very secure in the relationship that I'm in. My kids have just flourished and they're making hand over fist and money. Even my youngest one, pets are all good. Life is good. And I always say I live a very charmed life. I am blessed beyond means. So, with all that said, we are traveling, and went through Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is just fabulous, beautiful. The trees are all changing. The mountainside, just absolutely gorgeous. The Smoky Mountains, just beautiful, breathtaking. Went into Asheville, North Carolina. That scenery right there. I want to go back and do the Biltmore Mansion. My dad had talked about that up on Chimney Rock. We get all the way through North Carolina and we're talking, telling stories, did the whole beach thing all week long. We cooked in. One night I indulged and ordered a pizza. He went to a local sea market and got some blue crab and some oysters. And, I'm not a big drinker, just not. I had a bottle of wine and I might have had a glass here or there. Had the 2 beers when we were out meeting as friends. And the plan was we were going to do the 2 nights in Gatlinburg, which I would love to go back. I just want to go back. I think I want to live right outside Gatlinburg. I'd be happy with that. And then we went to North Carolina and we were there for 4 days. Like I said, stayed at this beautiful resort. And sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I'm getting to the point about fear. And from there, we decided when we were leaving out, we were going to drive on down to Charleston because I have always wanted to see Charleston, South Carolina, the plantations, the history. We did do Wilmington, North Carolina, which is fabulous. Met some wonderful horses, 2 Percherons, Don and Pete, pulling the wagon. It was just lovely to talk to that lady who was doing those rides. I got some great pictures. Like I said, I'll put them all in a slideshow and get them up here shortly. But the point I'm getting, so I'm all geared up. We're going to go to Charleston, South Carolina. I'm feeling good. We're getting along just perfect. We complement each other. Peanut butter and jelly, we're just completely different, but we have so much in common. He's brave, where I'm not brave. I'm always afraid. He's very confident about directions, whether he has a direction or not. He just knows which way he's going to go. Me, I'm a planner. I have to have everything somewhat mapped out. Okay, so we all have anxiety issues. We all have some fight or flight moments. It is human nature. It is part of the psychological part of our mind that keeps us safe, that protects us from situations when we are in danger. Anybody who has come out of an abusive relationship, there will be residual fight or flight. Growing up in an alcoholic family, you always wait for the shoe to drop. So you're always waiting, always a little anxious, always knowing something is going to happen. And as you grow older, you learn some really crazy coping skills. And you are able to calm your mind within those coping skills, but sometimes the coping skills don't work anymore. And we develop night terrors, nightmares, things that trigger our anxiety that sometimes we're not very aware of why they get triggered. So we are in Charleston, South Carolina, getting ready to go into the historic part. Now, we all have fears, and it's okay to have a fear. It is okay to admit you are afraid of something. That does not make you less of a person because you have a fear. I don't like snakes. Am I afraid of snakes? Most likely. My little Yorkie, if we're outside and I say, hunt it up, I send Gunny out because Gunny will go and hunt up the snake so I don't have to encounter it. And here in St. Louis, where I live, there's a creek about, I don't know, a couple hundred yards behind me. And sometimes when it rains or the weather changes and it's warmer and so on and so forth, I get snakes in my yard. Not my big thing. I don't like spiders. Terrible, terrible thing about spiders. Just as much as I don't like to kill anything, if I see a spider, sorry, your life is done. Um, what else am I afraid of? My favorite term is sketchy. I can't go there because it's sketchy. I don't like the atmosphere because the people are sketchy. Um, and it's become some kind of a continuing joke, an inside joke. You know, Matt will say to me, "Are you sure you want to go there? It looks like it's a little sketchy." I have my reasons for being afraid. I have my reasons for always looking over my shoulder. I have my reasons for always being on guard. And it's okay to be on guard like that. It's not paranoia. There are reasons why you have these guarded issues. Reoccurring nightmares. I have this reoccurring nightmare about going up on a bridge and the bridge stops. It either ends and I go off the bridge, or the bridge just continues to go up and up and up. I have a fear of heights. I've always had a fear of heights. I don't like to fly. I'm deathly afraid to fly. Um, and I'm admitting these things very openly. Certain situations where I get very panicky if I don't know certain people and I feel like I am being threatened. Now, Matt would never, ever, ever put me in any kind of direct danger on purpose. Matt isn't confrontational. Matt doesn't pick a fight with me. Matt doesn't put me in any situation where he knows it's going to hurt me. It would probably hurt him more to know that I would be in a situation where I would feel threatened. So we are getting ready to um, go across a bridge. Now, if you go down south, there are bridges across every river, every intercoastal way. That's just how that area, from going from here to Illinois, I have to cross a bridge. And I don't like our Poplar Street bridge, but I'm used to it. You know, if I have to be on it, I look forward and I just know in a few seconds, you know, I will be off the bridge and I don't have to worry about it till I have to come back. So here we are. We're in Charleston, South Carolina, and we are both having this great time. And I'm getting nervous. I'm starting to get really nervous. You know, we did a lot of driving, and I love to drive. I like traveling in the car because you see so many things. And I don't know what it was, but as soon as I could see how high that bridge was over the ocean, over their intercoastal way. And to give you an idea on how tall this bridge was, imagine a cruise ship. If you've ever taken a cruise and you know how tall a cruise ship is, the bridge was high enough that a cruise ship could go underneath it. And by the time that we hit the beginning of that bridge, I had some meltdown panic attack because one of my reoccurring nightmare of crossing a bridge and it going into nowhere. Two, my fear of heights. Three, being just anxiety ridden because we had been on the road for so long and so long, and we had seen quite a few big truck accidents that were just heart wrenching, heartbreaking, hoping everybody was okay, that nobody was going to get hurt. So, or that nobody was killed. So here we are getting ready to go up on this bridge, and I grabbed onto the side of his vehicle and I could not look anymore. And the only thing I could scream out was, "Get me off of this bridge, drive." And I went into complete fight or flight moment. Every every scary dream that I had ever had happened at that particular moment when we were going across that bridge. Needless to say, I was so shaken and so scared. And when you're in the height of an anxiety attack, it doesn't matter what somebody else is saying because your fears now have become so over exaggerated and so over irrational. Nothing makes sense. Nothing can calm you down. And while he's saying, look at this, look at this, look at this, what do you expect? I'm on the bridge. I can't go anywhere. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I completely shut down, completely. So, for any of you, and I'll finish the story, but for any of you that have ever been in that fight or flight mode, there's a gosh darn good reason why you're in that fight and flight mode. You've been put in a situation somewhere along in your life where there has been no other way but to either fight it or flee from it. That's just a part of what anxiety does to you. So by the time we got over to the other side of the bridge, I was done for the day, just completely done. I couldn't think. I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk. Normally, him and I get along so well. There is never any discomfort in a conversation or a discomfort when we're together. We can be together in silence, which mostly I'm okay with, and he's more of a conversing kind of person and likes noise, where I like quiet. But at that particular moment, it was the most uncomfortable, awkward position that I could have put him in because he didn't know how to respond to my panic attack. He didn't know how to respond to my post traumatic stress disorder issue at the moment. It wasn't his issue, it was my issue, and I didn't handle it very well. But when you are having an anxiety attack and a panic attack and you're in post traumatic stress, mode, nobody knows exactly what to do. They say you try to assess five things. What can you see? What can you hear? What can you breathe? What can you feel that will get you back in touch with the reality of the situation? And at that point, I couldn't. There was nothing. It wrecked our whole day. So we got through Charleston. We did go to the river walk, and I did take a couple pictures. But I was mind spent. I was just done. I was just done. Now, can you avoid these triggers in your life? No, you can't. If you are afraid of something, then you're afraid of it. And there's nothing anybody can say to you to make you not be afraid of that situation. What is it are you afraid of? What are the things that terrify you so bad that you cannot function in your life? And how do you compare that to living the life that you want, but you're afraid? So, I look at, and it turned out to be kind of a running joke. You didn't die from it. You survived it. Yes, I survived it. And it was the most uncomfortable, ungodly situation because it was a nightmare that had come true. Although in my nightmares it never finishes, and either I wake up or I'm falling off of something, and you're startled. But it was the beginning of what my mind knew in my subconscious. So when we finally got to our destination, thank God for a big jacuzzi bathtub and a half a bottle of wine, because I couldn't think anymore. I was completely not the person that I had been 6 days prior. So why am I telling you this story? Why is it important that I share, my hard day? Only to the fact that when you talk about starting a business, when you talk about, becoming something else, wanting to take a class, or you want to lose some weight, or you want to tell your story, but you don't know how to put it into the words because you're afraid. There is nothing in my life, nothing that I need to be fearful of. There is nothing in your life that you need to be fearful of when it comes to you being happy, getting back to who you are before somebody else told you to be somebody else. These exaggerated fears that we have is just that. They're exaggerated fears that something gets put in our mind, and then we lose our voice, we lose our drive, we lose our desire to leave the environment, to change the environment. Now, do I want to go back to Charleston? Absolutely, I want to go back to Charleston. Will I have that same reaction going across that bridge? The odds are probably. But at least I know and I'm aware of what is there and how to prepare possibly a little bit better. Panic attacks and anxiety attacks, they just sometimes come on. And anybody who suffers from any kind of anxiety, you know how that works. You could be absolutely fine one moment, and the next minute you're a freaking train wreck. So, finding your voice and telling your story and trying to understand a little bit more of why you're so fearful. I talk about the alcoholic family that I grew up in. I talk about the 8-year narcissistic, emotional, abusive relationship that I was in. And in a very, raw conversation Matt and I were having over this weekend, I told him that situation is always going to be there. It doesn't change because it happened. Am I a different person because of it? I'm a different person because I chose to go back to who I was prior to that relationship. The issue is the things that occurred in those 8 years have lingered on, and I've had to learn to make new coping skills. So when certain things are triggered, where when him and I are out and we've had a couple drinks, he's not going to turn around and bait me into a conversation that's going to turn into a heated argument. I don't have to worry about if he's going to get angry. A flying angry fist isn't going to come my way. When he's in a bad mood, I don't have to worry about his hands going around my neck and throwing me against a refrigerator. The situation that occurred years before, it left a residual that I've had to learn that not everybody has that type of tendency. And when you have anxiety and when you have panic attacks and when you've been through traumatic situations, the situation is always going to be there. It's just a matter of how you choose to learn some new coping skills. So when you're talking about changing your environment and leaving the environment, misery loves company. And if you are comfortable in that miserable zone in your life, you will never leave it because you're too attached to the situation. Someone had once said to me, don't attach yourself to anything that you cannot walk away from. To attach yourself to a situation means that you are emotionally invested in the situation. And when you are emotionally invested in the situation, love grows and a bond is formed. When you tell somebody that you do not attach or you cannot attach because at some point it seems like you will want to flee. You will want to go. You will be in fight and flight mode. And people who do not attach, it has a lot to do with their own personal anxiety and how most likely they were raised, what they have had to endure in their life. Abandonment in any dynamic will affect a person. Children who have lost their mother, children whose mothers have left them to go off with some guy, children whose mother has died, children whose mother has an addiction, is an alcoholic, is a drug user, is a gambler. These children develop their own panics and their own anxieties, and they search for what's stable and what's solid, and they learn their own coping skills that oftentimes put them into fight and flight, where trust is always a big issue, and they don't attach themselves for the fear that, oh my God, somebody is going to leave me. I can go on and on and on about being attached, being involved, having these great fears, but the only fear, seriously, that you need to have is living your life in a situation that is not conducive for you. Having these over exaggerated moments in your life. Stop and think why these situations are happening, and what situation have you allowed yourself to get into that you cannot get out of it. If you have to be fearful of telling somebody that you're afraid, to tell somebody you're not happy, to tell somebody the situation is just not working for me anymore, and I need something different for me. You need to be happy with who you are and what your core is. Starting a little business or starting a little side hustle, or breaking out the sewing machine. As you see, I've got my sewing machine and my embroidery machine behind me. Little things. Even if you don't want to start a business, and you have a hobby, why are you not doing your hobby? What is keeping you? What kind of fear do you have in the back of your head that is keeping you from doing these things that truly, truly make you happy? I talk about these things a lot in my law of attraction class, when we talk about a vision board, when we talk about, putting the words to the images so you can create this life that you want. This is your life. You get only one go around. You only get one opportunity. There are no do-overs. So if you're not living conducively to the life that you want to live, you are doing really an injustice service to yourself. When I'm teaching my painting classes, I always talk about perception and perspective. And it's not what you see, but what you don't see that changes the situation, that changes the dynamics, that changes the circumstances in it all. In my blogging and branding, take pictures, put your phone down for a while. That was the one thing while we were gone. I took so many fabulous pictures, and I took a few on my phone, but it was more important that when I get back home, I can edit and I can relive, and I can use my photos for my business and in my blog. And when I'm teaching you how to start a blog, how to journal your thoughts, how to get back to why you're so afraid. It's important. It is important to yourself that you take care of yourself. If you're going to be investing in your children, in your house, and in your business, you need to be investing in yourself. If you're interested in any of my classes, you can check out over at Dabble St. Louis if you're in the St. Louis, Missouri area. If you would like an online personal mentoring or business coaching, we can do it. We can do it through Facebook Live. We can do it, our Facebook chat. We can do it through Zoom. We can do it through Skype. Get a hold of me at kitrynmarie@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know your fears. Let me know how you are coping in your life with these anxiety issues. When you take an art class, it opens up the other side of your mind. So the logical part of your life just flows so much better. I would love to have you in any of my classes if you're in the St. Louis, Missouri area, or if you want something online. Go over to kitryn-marie.weebly.com to see all that I have available in my business coaching. If you want to learn more about my art classes or any of my own merchandise, go over to kmgraphicapparellandart.weebly.com. Right now, if you would please like this video, Leave a comment always. I love reading all the comments. I'm very thankful for the ones that have followed me on this journey, the ones that are being honest and telling and saying their story, telling the why of who they are and why they became the way that they are. You can't change the story. You can't erase what has happened. You learn to open up dialogue, you learn to get in touch with your feelings, and you learn again to start attaching yourself, becoming emotionally invested in the right situations with the right person. Living in fear is a god awful way to live life. I'm Kitryn Marie. I'm an artist, a writer, a speaker, a life and a business coach. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. You can find me on all of the social networks. Please, go over to Facebook if you would like to see some of the pictures until I get them up here on YouTube. Go over to KM Designs, A Writer's Mind. Find me under Kitryn Marie on Instagram. Subscribe, share, leave a comment. Remember, fate does turn on a dime, and you need to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. Be happy and be blessed and be thankful for everything that's happened in your life. So for today and for tomorrow, take care, and I will see you all real soon. Bye-bye.